Hey there, my sweet friends. Welcome back, or welcome if you're new. I hope you are all well. I'm pretty excited today to share this project with you because we're using a shortcut, and that gets us to the finishing details sooner so we can add those beautiful pattern papers and all the fun embellishments. So this is going to be a summer or nautical themed flip folio. We have lots of pockets, all kinds of inserts here. There's plenty of room for your pictures and journaling, and this project will come together in no time because of our shortcut. That makes it pretty ideal for those summer holidays. Maybe you want to make this for Christmas or add this for your Halloween project list. Any way you want to create it, I think you will enjoy making it. So if that sounds good to you, then stick around and we'll make it together. I'm working with the C'est La Vie collection today, and this is a beautiful nautical inspired collection. It does have a red, white, and blue palette, and so I think it will work equally well for more of your summer holiday patriotic theme projects. And our shortcut today for making this a fast and easy project is to use these paper bags. I did get these from Amazon, quite a lot in the package for a pretty good value, and so these are going to be the base for our mini album. Now they are originally sized 7 3/4 by 5.5. We're going to have to cut that down just a little bit to make it fit the project that we want to make today, but unfortunately we won't see that cute polka dot, so maybe these will come back in a future project and we can utilize that sweet pattern. For the project today, we're going to be needing 4 of these bags, and I did mention that I had to cut it down, and so you can see that I did cut off that top portion that had an odd shape, and so it's now going to be 7 inches wide by 5.5 inches tall. Now I did come in and score that at 2 inches so that this bottom portion will create the pocket. And for one of the bags, I did add my double-sided tape because we're just going to go ahead and seal that bag up and use it for our front cover. And I'll just take the backing from my tape here and fold that over. The remaining 3 bags are going to act as pages and pockets on the inside, and so we're going to adhere that along the sides and the bottom, and this will create our pocket. First, we want to cover this page though, so that we can have a nice finished look. And I've got my pattern paper and cardstock cut here. The cardstock is going to be 5 3/8 by 4 7/8. And the pattern paper is 5 1/4 by 4 3/4. I'll just add that here. Now I want to use my Tombow, and I'm adding it only to 3 of the sides that will create the pocket. I'm going to be very careful to keep that Tombow in from the edge so that it doesn't squeeze out. And of course, when you get this adhered, you want to take a bit of time for this glue to set up before you move on to the next step. I think it will be easier to move this into a position where I can see from the side. And you'll notice that the tops of the bags are all going in the same direction, and they are also going to become pockets. So you will just add some pressure here and have a good contact for your glue to set up. I'm going to do that, and then I will meet you back here when I'm ready to move on to the next step. I have the same pattern cut for the other side because I do like my 2-page spreads to match, and so I'll just add that here, continuing to get that nice border. And then you can choose to cover this pocket or not. I think that dot pattern is really nice, and so you could leave it just like that, but I did have offcuts as I was working along, so I figured I might as well get use out of those too. And so the cardstock is going to be 5 3/8 high by 1 7/8 inch wide, and the pattern paper is 5 1/4 by 1 3/4, and I'm just going to top that pocket with this pattern. Now it is going to add a lot of structure and stability and thickness if you do decide to cover that, and so I think that works pretty well for this project to be a little bit chunky, and that is how we like our mini album. So for the remaining 2 bags, you would repeat that process, and I'm just going to work through that, and I'll speed it up a little and give you some music to listen to, and then I'll meet you back here when we're ready to continue on to the next step. So now we have all of our pattern paper and our pockets ready to go. And so let's just flip through there real quick. Now I do want to finish the back with a pretty coordinating paper, and so I'm just going to layer that right on there. As with the nature of mass-produced items, you will notice some imperfection in the measurements, and so this is a moment where you can embrace the imperfection and just enjoy the crafting, or you could make your own bags, and that way you would be assured that they would be perfect. But I think I'm just going to go with this shortcut because I really like to get to the fun part of adding all my papers and my trims. So I did add a little bit of double-sided tape there, and that will tack down my trim. That will hold it in place between the layers. And so I'm just picking this pretty smoke blue taffeta ribbon from Really Reasonable Ribbon, and I'll add that right here. For the front cover, I did take advantage of some offcuts, and so I did use 2 different patterns, but the measurement would still be the same. And I'm just going to sandwich that trim there in between. That will keep it very nicely secured. Now we do want to add some inserts, of course. So I've got the cut aparts that came with the collection, and this one happened to have 4 different ones, and I only have 3 pockets, so I'm just going to pick my 4 favorites. So let's add those here. See how nicely those fit in to those pockets. And so there is also room for additional flat keepsakes and mementos, so you can really add quite a lot to this little mini. And remember that we do have pockets on the side here. Now, of course, we do want to utilize some of our offcuts and get use out of that. And so I am making my own tab top inserts for that. The measurement for this piece is going to be 5 inches high by 4 3/4 of an inch wide. And I do want to cut a tab top that will extend beyond the top of that. So I also want to think about alternating whether or not this goes on the top or the bottom. And so I like this pattern here, and I want it to have the tab that would be on the bottom. And so I'm just going to flip that over and cut it from this side. I've got my envelope punch board here. I'm going to follow the directions to line this up, and then I'll slide that down to 2 3/4. I don't have my cutter with me at the moment, but I can just flip over this other card and give myself a straight edge to cut from so that I can keep it nice and even. So let's just remove that excess portion. Then when I flip that piece over, that will be the alternating tabs so that they will be nicely visible. Okay, so let's go ahead and get those in those pockets. Now, of course, these are not gusseted because we used a flat bag, and so that way we're going to get these to fit nice and snug, and then they will extend beyond the edge of the page here. So let's pick one for the top. One more for the bottom. And here's our last one. So of course this is also adding additional sturdiness and thickness to make this book a little bit more chunky. Okay, let's go ahead and close that up and add a little bit of detail for the cover. Of course, I do like to have a doily that helps to break up those busy paper patterns. And so I just cut this one from a nice white cardstock, and then I'll tap that with one of the cut apart images that I used a die to cut a circle and a nested die to create a border. And I use the same blue cardstock so that this will really pop up and have some dimension. I added those foam tabs to the back. I did create a flower arrangement, and I don't typically use a pattern paper for my flower, but I thought it really coordinated really well. And the secret to that is that this pattern was very small, and so when I did cut it, I still maintain that plaid sort of image so that it doesn't look busy. And so I did finish that off with my die cut leaves. There is loopy twine bows, and rather than adding additional smaller flowers to create that embellishment, I added some die cut stars, and so that just adds a little bit of sparkle and gives me some detail for my cover. I'm adding that with hot glue. Got a couple little charms here. These are sweet little mermaids, and I do want to just add those with my glue as I do on the top with the string. Remove the excess. Top that with a button. Tie myself a little bow here on the side. Then I'll add some sequins here to the top, and this just helps to balance the details on the other side of that button. So that's going to be all for our tutorial today, and I really hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and check the description for links for the product I mentioned. As always, I'm wishing you a happy and productive day, and I thank you so much for watching. Bye!